I just resigned from my dream job after experiencing disability discrimination. Let's talk about it. It's a new day. I am wearing glasses. Hello. Where I left you off, I had just been hired for my dream job after doing 6 interviews, and I had been successfully onboarded. So I'm going to take you from the first day on the job to the day before the first day of school, which is about a week of time. So the day I started the job was pretty standard for a new teacher orientation day. We met at the high school, which actually was right across the street from the middle school I was going to be working at. And they had us in some big room. I can't remember if it was the gym or the cafeteria. But they had like breakfast for us. They had a nice continental breakfast. The high school marching band played. They had a bunch of speakers from the district. It was very much like, welcome to our district. We are so happy to have you here. Very run-of-the-mill, very standard. So we did that, and I ended up sitting at that breakfast between 2 people who would later become some of my very few friends and allies on that campus. So I ended up sitting between them. We have breakfast. We do all the things, and then we break out into our breakout sessions. Of course, they gave us paper schedules. I could not read my schedule, so I just picked one of my friends and followed her schedule. I was like, you know what, it doesn't really matter. All the sessions are the same. I'm going to end up getting the same material. Of course, there is another car driving by. Wowie. So, I follow her around. One of the sessions that we have is with the district tech office, and I got my district computer, and at first I used the built-in Windows screen reader, which is poopy. We'll talk about narrator another day, another time. But then I was talking with the people that were running the session, and they actually had the people on site that were able to install a better screen reader for me. So they did, and I ended up having, by lunch, I think, the better screen reader on my computer. So that was really nice because I was able to follow most of the sessions, although I think I made a rookie mistake and did not have headphones, so I don't think I actually used my computer too much throughout the day, but it was nice to at least have the screen reader and at least have the ability to follow along with the sessions. And everything was looking really accessible. You know, the IEP software was looking good, the gradebook was looking good, everything was fabulous. It just all looked accessible with the screen reading software that I had, because, you know, sometimes different software doesn't like different screen readers. It's a whole thing. So we have that whole day of training, and then the next morning we have a specific English training off campus at another site. So we go to that, and, well, I guess I go to that. And then I'm leaving that training when I'm told that somebody from the vision department wants to talk to me, and it turns out that it was my old vision teacher. So District A is my alma mater, which is probably the saddest thing about this experience. District A, I went to 2nd and 3rd grade in District A, and then moved away out of state and came back and did 7th through 12th grade in District A. So I spent a significant chunk of my time as a student in this district, which, like I said, I think is the saddest fact about this experience, because this is the district that was home to me and should have been a good experience on the flip side as an employee. So I meet with my old vision teacher. He says that the district can connect me with a braille display. They have an old one I can borrow. And he also gives me the information for the person at HR who is in charge of setting up accommodations. So I get done with that meeting. It was really good to see him. And then I go back to my main campus and I spend the rest of the day and the next day there. I am emailing back and forth with the person in charge of setting up accommodations, trying to set up a time to start the interactive process to discuss what accommodations I might be able to receive. And then I'm also planning for my first week. I'm super excited about my schedule. I'm supposed to be teaching a session of resource English, a section of co-taught English, which is a general ed and a special ed teacher teaching together. And the rest of my day is going to be curriculum support, which is helping students with IEPs catch up on missing assignments, finish any tests. It's basically providing them the extended time accommodation that is in their IEPs. So I'm really excited about my schedule, and I'm just trying to get familiar with the curriculum, get my classroom set up, get all my plans done, all the fun things. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Thursday, everybody comes back. Everybody's contract starts. And so we have this giant staff meeting in the library. Again, we have another continental breakfast. Everybody is like talking and laughing, getting to know each other. It's all the staff are back. We do these get to know you games, and one of them I remember because I could do it with a lot of difficulty. We had to pull up photos to represent different things about ourselves or like different memories. And so I was able to do it. It took me like a little bit longer because I had to make sure, like I had to use AI to make sure I was actually showing people the right photos instead of something random and weird. And I couldn't see their photos at all, which made it hard and to add on the other end. But I just remember that game. And then as part of that game, one of the subs that we had on campus who could cover any like emergencies or any outages, they were basically substitute teachers that were just assigned to our campus, came up and said that she was really interested in getting to know me specifically a little bit more because her son is legally blind. So that was Thursday morning, and then Thursday at about lunchtime, I had my meeting with the HR people in charge of accommodations. I had asked that we do the meeting virtually. They wanted to do it at district office, but my campus was like 25-30 minutes away from district office. And I said, because of my disability, I can't drive. That really isn't going to be an option for me. Can we do it virtually? And thankfully, they were really accommodating. So we had the meeting, and I am explaining to them, it's a very quick meeting because I don't need a whole lot of things. I explained to them the accommodations that I had in my old district, which were quite simple. You know, I had screen reading software on my computer that had already been taken care of. I mentioned to them that the vision department was getting me connected with a braille display that they already had. That was taken care of. I mentioned that because in order to connect to the like smartboard projectory things, you needed to be able to read the access code, which obviously I couldn't do that. So I mentioned to them that I had already been in talks with the tech people about getting an HDMI cable, and that was a standard thing that people had anyway. And then I also said I would need to have my service dog with me. She is retired now and does retire in the middle of this story, but she was still working at the time. And I said, you know, I would really like to be able to have her with me on campus. And they said, yes, that all sounds reasonable. Everything is fine. And they went over with me what those accommodations were. They said, we'll send you the thing for you to sign in like 24 hours. Also, do you have medical documentation? I said, I haven't seen an ophthalmologist since I was really small, but you know what, I'll see what I can do in terms of getting medical paperwork. Fun fact, I never did actually submit medical documentation to the HR people. It never happened. So I go through the interactive process, and then it's basically just trainings for the rest of the day. So then Friday morning, we have another English training. This time it's everybody in the 7th through 12th grade English departments all together. On Tuesday morning, that English training had just been for new people. The one Friday was for everybody. It was actually at the high school that I graduated from. So I got to see a lot of people that I already knew, plus English teachers that I had already had as a student were there. So it was kind of like a little reunion. It was a great time. It was a good training. The materials were sent to me so I could actually follow along, which was very nice. And then we went back to campus and we were just doing planning and setup stuff. I met with the person that I was supposed to be co-teaching with, and we had fabulous chemistry. We had a really similar vision for what we wanted our first week to look like. We have a really similar vision of how a classroom should run, how we wanted to plan together. It was just great vibes, immediately. So I met her. When I walk out the door on Friday, I have all my plans done. People are asking me at this point how I'm feeling, and I'm being kind of transparent and saying, I'm a little bit nervous because it's a new grade level, it's a new curriculum, but I had made my plans for what I wanted to do that week on Friday, and I was feeling confident and ready to go come Tuesday when school was going to start. So I walk out the door with my plans done Friday, my classroom's all set up. When I walk out the door, I also noticed that the special ed meeting we're going to have with admin on Monday has been pushed forward half an hour. So instead of meeting at 8:30, we were going to meet at 8 o'clock. I was like, okay, that's fine. Meetings do meeting, stuff happens. So then Sunday happens, and I am printing all of the IEPs in Braille that I have from the students on my caseload. I have a Braille embosser, and I really wanted to print my IEPs in Braille. I was like, this is when I start being super organized and keeping all my paperwork in a format that I can actually read, that's not just digital, that I don't have to pull up every single time. So I started to print my paperwork in Braille, and I was midway through the first IEP when I got this really funny feeling that I needed to stop printing the IEP and not print any others. I was like, okay, that's weird. So I listened to my gut for once in my life, and I took the printer offline and immediately stopped printing that IEP, shut it down, didn't print anymore. And that takes us to the day before the first day of school, which is going to be its own separate video because whew, that day was a lot.